Hey guys, it is Sunday morning, the morning after game night. I'm a little bit hungover and waiting for my coffee to brew. So I figured I'd show you guys a little bit of the aftermath of the game and talk a bit about how it was set up and run. So here is still the setup and the aftermath of the second big encounter of the night. But the first encounter was a epic battle in a set of ruins. Some of you guys probably saw the pictures that I had posted of it. Basically, I had a massive setup of a ruined, war-torn city. I had those new fire marker stacks going, and I had a cadaver collector going across the battlefield and collecting the dead. And basically the objective of that battle was there was, about 6 spots where there was piles of wounded soldiers, and each round of combat one of those piles of soldiers died. So the objective was to save as many as they could. They had the special healing dust that they could sprinkle across several people and stabilize them. So that was the big objective. But the important thing is, how did I manage to actually do these two fairly involved setups in the game without it slowing stuff down too much? So what I actually did was, before the game, I set up this area with all the ruins. I didn't have the smoke or any of the taller items on there, but all the ruins were set up. And then I just took some black foam board and laid it across. So when we sat down for the session recap and the first little bit of RP to get them there, that was covered. Then when they approached and got close, I removed the foam board, added the fire markers, added the minis, changed the lighting because I now have color changing LED lighting, and we were good to go when we fought that battle. Then I was kind of cruel because basically that battle with the runes ended with the big bad necromancer teleporting in, going pure Skeletor, saying, "How dare you interfere with my plans? You will suffer, blah, 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 blah." And he basically said that his commander of an undead army will be sent forth to the small town of Harn, which they were, supposed to be helping in this cause. And I explained to them that Harn was a fair distance away from where they were, and if they had 3 options to get there, either fast, slow, or really fast, and varying levels of exhaustion would take place. Actually, let's take a look here. Oh, this is my journal. So after the first fight, they could go back to Harn in 48 hours of hard riding would give them an exhaustion level of 1, getting there faster in 24 hours, exhaustion 2, 12 hours, exhaustion 3. So basically they could go from one battle to the next, and it was up to them how fast they wanted to do that, and they would suffer the consequences of exhaustion. So they went from one epic battle into another epic battle where they returned to Harn, and it was absolutely under siege. There was dozens of undead pulling villagers from their home and slaughtering them. Each round, certain NPCs from that village were killed. And at the top, this tower was moved out of the way for some reason during play. At the top was a, this guy, this commander of this undead horde, and an NPC that they were working for, the daughter of the Lord. He was commanding this army, and he was a serious spellcaster, and he was casting all sorts of nasty spells. And basically they had to get through this town, rescue people, kill as many of this horde as they can, and take care of him. But what I'd like to talk about is, how does I actually set this up? So basically the first encounter was done on the table, and they were fast traveling as quick as they could to here. And basically at this point I actually just asked the players to take an intermission, you know, take their bathroom breaks, and a couple of the guys wanted to go smoke a cigar. And I had all of these big pieces set up behind me on these tables. That's why they're here. They're just ready to go. So as they were out of the room, I cleared the table of the rooms, put them away on the shelves, and set this up. And then they returned, sat down, and I explained what the scenario was. So that's how I actually dealt with setting this sort of thing up. And it was a pretty crazy battle. For one, the big bad dude, Yuzik, he's a pretty serious guy. So keep in mind my party is 4 level 3 characters. And this guy is like a 17th level spellcaster. He's got some serious heat up his sleeve. And because he's got so many spells, like I showed in the picture, this is how I manage the spells. Because having a list and then those big long descriptions in the book, that's really hard to run as a DM. When you're a player, it's okay because you wait for your turn and you can spend some time, you know, thinking about what spell you're going to cast. But as the DM, you have to pay attention on everyone else's turn, so you can't be reading these long spells. And I wanted this guy's decisions to be snappy and appropriate. So I create these spell cards that are custom spell cards that have really refined and clear information so I can see at a glance. So this spell, it's a cantrip, poison spray range, but then the info is just puff of poison gas, creature con save versus 1d12 poison. That's it, higher level info, you know. Firebolt, hit equals 1d10 fire damage, flammable objects ignite when at higher levels. That's it, that's all I need. You know, some I'll do the area of effect if it's a little more complicated, but that's it. And then I can keep them in these cards and I can basically play them like a deck of Magic the Gathering cards, which is, you know, intuitive to me. I also put damage inducing spells in red sleeves and other ones in black sleeves, so I know at a glance what they do. And in here I have a few notes where I knew that I wanted to use these spells for certain things at certain points in time. Like here, right at the end of the epic battle, when my counter had run out, I wanted Finger of Death cast on one of the NPCs that had been with them. And I did that and it worked out, and he somehow managed to actually survive Finger of Death, even though he was dealt 62 damage in one turn. He managed to not truly die. Got the new DM screen set up here mostly so I could, you know, hide my minis and some stuff. Normally this isn't here. Normally I have a little wood screen that angles back and is very low so that I can, from this perspective, I can see the whole battlefield, which I really like. It just hides my book, but I wanted a little bit more room for spell cards and minis and whatnot. So that's that. Got my DM card here still. I still use it. I mostly just use it for dice. And that is the aftermath of game night. And I hear my coffee is done brewing, and boy do I need it. So cheers guys. See you again in the next vlog, or maybe the next video, whichever comes first. Cheers guys.